Okay, well, I just wanted to talk about the fact that, we just had an attempted assassination attempt on President Donald Trump, and suddenly Netanyahu's coming here to speak in front of the Congress, and I don't know whether he's going to do that in front of the Congress now or what, but they were just reporting breaking news that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be hosted at Mar-a-Lago. So he's going to be meeting there privately with Donald Trump. And, I just think the timing of that is kind of insane. It's like coming here to manipulate in the crisis situation that our government is in. There is a rabbi who's got a video on YouTube, and he came on and said, "Donald Trump, my Messiah." Well, I don't think that's the vast majority of Jewish people saying that. I think it's just this gentleman. Well, they believe that there's two messiahs. So there's this rabbi that is using the scripture in the Old Testament where, Aaron was anointed on the right ear with the sacrificial blood and all of that. And I don't think there's any connection to that, and him saying that, Donald Trump is God's anointed. So I don't know if this rhetoric is going to spread far and wide, but even though they're saying that, even though this rabbi said he was my Messiah, they believe in two messiahs. So there's going to be a king that they will appoint with the Sanhedrin, I'm telling you. And he probably will work with Donald Trump. So I don't believe that Donald Trump is the anointed Messiah in the least. And certainly you can't use that scripture about Aaron and him putting the sacrificial blood on his right ear and his thumb and say that has anything to do with Donald Trump. It's just not the case. That had to do with the sacrifice of a lamb or an animal and putting the blood on the ear and on the thumb. So it's not the same as getting a bullet wound in the ear at all. And it has nothing to do with the blood of, a sacrificial animal. So I think we have to be really careful when people start taking scripture out of context and trying to apply it to a modern day scenario. So we have to be very careful not to take modern day situations and apply the Old Testament to it as though it's a repeat of the same thing. They are going to restore the monarchy. I can tell you that is a sure thing. It is hidden basically in the book of Revelation. And so a king is going to come into play. Israel's going to choose an earthly king. And even though certain rabbis gifted a silver Torah scroll crown to Donald Trump, that's not the crown of the Messiah. They commissioned a crown to be given to the Messiah, who is a king, according to the rabbis, when he comes to Jerusalem. So I truly believe that King Charles III fits every aspect of that particular king. I wanted to read some articles that I thought were of great importance. The very fact that Netanyahu is coming at such a critical time when our whole government is in turmoil is very manipulative, I believe, and trying to get things accomplished for what he wants for Israel. So here's what I wanted to say was that, yesterday Benny Johnson was reporting several news reports on this investigation of the phone of Thomas Crooks. And they discovered in the phone records, there was a phone that was being used by someone who constantly visited the Crooks' home. So this person, whoever owned this phone, that visited the Crooks home numerous occasions was also pinged in Washington, D.C. at this building called the Gallery. In other words, they have offices of the FBI inside the Gallery. So the other thing was that this Navy SEAL that went up onto the roof and into the room inside the building that the Secret Service agents were standing in when Crooks was laying on the roof. They were in that room for over an hour, and if you opened up the window, you're looking down over the entire roof looking at it. And they never took him out, and they were observing him from that room, I believe they said for an hour at least. So this just screams inside job. Not only that, but Kim Cheadle's evasive testimony yesterday, and of course she resigned this morning, but she would not answer anything, even when she was asked if there was somebody else involved beside Crooks. So there is something else I wanted to mention. And I wanted to read some articles, but I just wanted to get this video out with just a summary of what I wanted to talk about. And that is that they said in one article that the Department of Homeland Security trained at the gun range where Thomas Crooks also trained, DHS, trained there. And Mayorkas, who was the head of the director of the Homeland Security, secretly met with George Soros or Alex Soros or both and put people in place that they wanted in place. So there you have George Soros infiltrating our government once again, pointing to this. And I personally believe there's a connection to the assassination attempt and those billionaires, those elites that are for the World Economic Forum and speak at the World Economic Forum and trying to remove Christianity out of our nation and trying to bring down our country. So all of these connections come together, you know. I think the problem is that articles are so sporadic and spread out that people aren't really piecing together everything and making these connections. They know that Soros did this or Soros did that, but they're not seeing he's connected to every single terrorist internal attack against our government and our judicial system, and buying out these corrupt people to be the district attorneys, and the very district attorney Alvin Bragg, funded by Soros, to try to remove Trump from being able to become the president in the next election. But the very fact that Mayorkas is in control of the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, and get this morning they also said that Kim Cheadle would not answer any questions about certain things that happened with the FBI and the Secret Service. The Secret Service was basically told not to speak out, not to say anything, and they were told to keep silent about it by the DHS, controlled by Mayorkas and controlled by George Soros. It all comes together, and our country is in grave danger. We need to be praying up like never before and truly putting our trust and putting on the full armor of God to stand in the evil day, because these days are wicked, these days are evil, and when Christians go against other Christians and try to cause them trouble or whatever, it's just the worst times we've ever seen. The Secret Service was told to keep quiet, not give any details by the DHS. which is controlled by Mayorkas, who they tried to impeach for his corruption, and rightfully so. You know, Kim Cheadle wouldn't give one answer to anything. And it's just obvious it was an inside job. And once you see the room that the Secret Service was standing in, looking out over that roof where they had a clear shot, a clear view for over an hour, and they did nothing, it just is so clear seeing that. And when the Navy SEAL went up on the roof and showed those things, inside job. Can you imagine? And now they're doing another coup to try to manipulate on the Democratic side. There's just no words to say, you know. We live in the most ridiculous times. People say things are so evil. Trying to connect with what I said before about the Soros family and all the connections to all the pictures showing Joe Biden with Alex Soros and Kamala Harris, Obama, Clinton, connected to the Soros family who's come into the White House and infiltrated our judicial system with corrupt prosecutors. And as you know, George Soros is a Hungarian Jew. So it was reported that the president of Hungary, President Orban, had stated that Soros is trying to infiltrate our system to diminish Christianity in our country. And this makes sense to me now, seeing that all of these people that are in these prosecutor positions and all of the terrorist activity of Black Lives Matter and the other movement, Antifa, all of that internal terrorism funded by Soros, including the Palestinian riots at universities he funded, all of that is anti-Christian movements and trying to take Christianity out of our government. So that's why the left and the celebrities are always bad-mouthing Trump and the system, because Trump is talking about bringing God back to the country and all of this stuff. So, you know, and let me just state right here, I have my eyes wide open. I see everything that on both sides of what's going on. I'm not just got my eyes shut to things with Donald Trump. And anybody who says something like that doesn't know me at all. So, anyway, I'm just keeping my eyes open for everything dealing with prophetic events. And already Netanyahu is trying to get his foot in the door with Donald Trump before he even becomes president again. So I think it's very manipulative, and I think it's very clear that things are going to be moving forward if he gets in as the president. And the left is trying to prevent that from happening. So we'll see what happens. So for now, signing out. I'll see you later on. I think that putting these pieces together is extremely important. All right, I'll see you later.